Welcome to Asylum Atelier. Welcome to 2026. Welcome to my studio. I'm back again, finally, after really long period of, I don't know, I should call it hiatus, I guess. I was just hiding in front of the whole world, trying to figure out certain things and how to proceed, or actually how to continue with my work. As you all might know, and for those of you who don't know, I've been kind of busy lately, and it's due to multiple things. First of all, let's start from the beginning, and today it's not going to be necessarily about the drawing or painting. It's more like an introduction and overview of what I'm planning on doing this year. And I know that I already failed you and disappointed you with all the projects that I had lined up previously. Life happens, and I'm not necessarily sorry about it, but it's really one of those things that there are things that you can't really avoid, and it's just they're going behind the scenes. Last time you guys saw me was in St. Petersburg. I was graduating my academy, I guess that's the best way to say it. Is Imperial Academy of Arts in St. Petersburg. It was extremely difficult, bittersweet experience, I have to say. There was a lot of positive things, a lot of negative things that the whole experience included. But I'm finally back home in Slovakia, in my studio, and I can get back to just the regular work, regular stream that you guys all used to. I still have some issues with the internet, with streaming and cameras. You know all the spiel. You know that there wouldn't be my stream without any technical difficulties. But important thing is that there's a new year. There's a enormous amount of new projects that I'm part of or I'm working on, and that's one of the reasons why I was not able to be here and participate and continue with creative discourse. And the main reason is that there's some projects that they are NDA, non-disclosure agreements, which I cannot talk about because some of them are commercial, some of them are where I'm applying for certain competitions, and these competitions supposed to be anonymous, so the work that I'm actually creating shouldn't be displayed. One of them is actually behind me right now. It's in that plastic bag. It's a sculpture that I'm working on, a project. But you know what? I felt like I've been out of this space, and I've been, really kind of separated from streaming and from that creative discourse that is extremely important for me. There are no specific rules that prohibited me from actually showing you everything else around that sculpture that I'm working on, except the sculpture. So unfortunately, I cannot show you that one. But I can show you my sketches, my preparations, and this is a project that I'm starting right now. This is you can see it on the side. It's the very first one that I have lined up this year. I have some projects that are still continuing towards this year, and these are specifically NDA for big companies and production studios that I cannot talk about. I cannot show you the process. I cannot show you the results. Unfortunately, those are the rules, and that's probably one of the main reasons why I was really absent last couple months. Another important things that I wanted to talk about is that, and that's probably the biggest reason why I was offline for so long, is that after finishing that academy, you know, the first moments you feel like everything is just, you know, like everything kind of like all the weight from your shoulders, from the whole person, from years of pursuing that dream to finish the academy, suddenly was over. And you might remember, some of you, and those of you who don't, once I mentioned them once, multiple times I mentioned that fact that I am very grateful for all the knowledge that I received, not only from the academy, but, you know, in general, from you guys, from peers, from other colleagues, from students even. And you might remember me talking about Nikolai Blokhin and his famous expression that you either draw or you deal with the problems. You can't do outside of the drawing or outside of the academy problems. You can't do both simultaneously, because you are either with your head outside with the problems, or you're here present in front of a canvas, in front of a paper, in front of whatever medium that you choose to engage with, and you deal with that. And it's a great advice if you really want to progress and really want to get a lot of things done, and with the highest possible accuracy and highest possible, you know, the best result. Unfortunately, it has one drawback, and that's exactly what the statement talks about. You either draw or you deal with the problems. And I completely avoid any kind of problems that any kind of a problem that was outside of the studio, outside of that, you know, diploma painting, just was non-existent for me. And I have to say that it cost me a lot of it cost me a lot of time that I was separated from the people that I love, that's family. And I really felt like I was lost. I wasn't sure what to do next and what would be a next a step for me to do. I accomplished this, and I felt like it was an enormous victory. But then on the other side, it was just the beginning of the actual painting career after the school, right? Even though I had to, you know, postpone my last year and my diploma painting because of the, you know, the world is not really connected as it used to be when it comes to actual borders. So I had to postpone, and I felt that, you know, I'm outside of the school already, and I felt like this is the studio that I work with, that I feel comfortable. This is the place where I'm going to be working. And I have to say that for a little bit, I felt like I'm not ever going to be able to go back and finish it. But then luckily it happens, and it's not all my win, it's a win of everybody who was actually involved in that process. And trust me, if I tell you that in order for me to finish that academy and have that experience, there was so many people involved in that they helped, which I'm grateful and I'm thankful for that. And that includes you guys out there that you're listening and you know, helping, suggesting. And we went through a lot during that preparation for that painting, and it was an amazing experience for me. And I don't even know, I can't even describe how much I enjoyed it and how much I appreciate that. And I want more of it, you know, obviously, because it was a great experience. Like I said, it cost me a lot of outside of that, you know, atelier, the world changed and the things were happening, and they were kind of, you know, happening behind my back, actually. Not because you know, someone would be tricking me or lying to me. It's more that I was so focused and so I completely withdraw from everything, you know. Like I said, that the most important thing that is there is the family, and I felt like I need to spend more time with my family, and that's what I did. So, but right now I'm back home. I'm trying to again fit into that schedule, trying to get back to day-to-day painting and creating with you through the stream, and, you know, continue that creative discourse. I know that most of you are gone and you have a different channels that you watch. You have a different. That's all good. That's okay. I understand that, but still, you know, the option to join me, it's still here. It's, after all, it's a creative discourse. So if you want to join me, I'll be more than happy. So that's that. Another important thing that happened that I actually that prevented me from you know, just regular streaming is the fact that I actually joined another school, and I started as a first-year student there because I wasn't sure if my diploma would be legally accepted as a master degree here in Europe because of the difficulties between transferring what's the titles? I don't know how to say that. So I had a long kind of a back and forth between the government and trying to find out and figure it out how to actually make sure that I have a diploma that works here, so I can actually participate in the projects that this particular diploma or the education is necessary. So that was another difficult part, and that's why I applied for a local art school where I started as a first year, and I was hoping that they could accept some of the credits, perhaps even some of the even like the whole years, and they could actually bump me up. Since I already have all the credits and, you know, all the exams done, plus I could do some other, you know, like extracurricular activities, bring a little bit more drawings, a little bit more paintings as a portfolio. Unfortunately, since they have a different, it's a school system. Yeah, that would be probably, or university system. I was not able to actually transfer any credits. Actually, there's no actually credited system at the academy because it's an old school, 300 years old way of teaching. I think I mentioned before that the St. Petersburg Academy, or Imperial Academy, if you wish, is really last existing classical school that was, you know, without the break, was continuing from its starts 300 years ago. So they have a specific system. They are not part of you know, the classical syllabus, if you wish. And when I say classical, I don't mean classical in terms of painting or drawing. I mean classical in terms of how it used to be a long, long time ago. So that was like that was one of the main points, one of the main what's the word that I'm looking for? That was a main impulse for me to actually go there and study there, because it had that, and still has, right? It has that tradition of great art, which comes with a lot of discipline, a lot of work, and so on and so forth. So I wanted to experience that. But I'm not, that's a different topic, right? But important part is that it doesn't even follow the rules of Department of Education, because it belongs to Department of culture, I guess that would be the easiest translation. So they are kind of they have a they have their own system, and they go by their own rules there. So and the problem is that our education, since I actually receive a separate kind of a title there as a specialist in oil painting, we don't have anything in Slovakia that would be equivalent of this. So it was like kind of finding a balance how to actually make my education valid and accepted here. None of this actually, well, coming back to my previous point that I couldn't actually transfer any credits because the credits were non-existent. So that kind of failed. But what happened is that meanwhile, I submitted all the documents, I submitted everything that they asked me from our Department of Education, and they kind of accepted that I actually finished the master's degree. Unfortunately, I cannot use title right now. Like I'm not MFA, I believe it's in English. I still have finished that master degree, and but it's a master degree, and I'm a specialist right now in oil painting, and that's that. So a school actually told me that I don't need to continue in the first year, but what I could do, I could apply for a PhD. So I'm in the process of applying to a PhD. So there is another process that I have to do, a preparation. I honestly, I was not even aware that there is such a thing as a PhD in painting. So obviously this. So that's what I'm thinking about right now, to apply there and try and test if I can actually continue my studies. And the cool thing is that it's a local school, and I could actually be there because it's not that far away. It's like a 15-minute by walk from my studio. So it's actually even convenient for me. And they offered multiple different categories for the PhD or topics. So it's kind of interesting. So maybe I'll apply for that. And again, we will have to revisit the schedule. But that's, that's the second half of the year. So these are the things that happened that kind of prevented me from being here, uploading, streaming, and being present. So that's not the excuse. It's not necessarily apology. It's more like an explanation of what was happening. You know that I can really zone into the zone and like zoom into painting and not seeing what's left and right. And without going into any details, because that's the personal life and it should stay personal. My only advice would be that check in at least once a week on what's happening around you if you're really zoom in, because you might actually finish your work and be surprised that how much difficulties you might have created for yourself by being just so narrow-minded. So, but it's not me trying to, give you any advice. That's something that happened to me, and since this is a creative discourse and we exchange the information, we give ourselves a kind of a back and forth. I wanted to let you know that this is what happened to me, and it was difficult, and I don't want you to go through that kind of a difficult stage of your life unless you choose so. So you've been informed right now about what to do and what not to do, and it's up to you to choose which way you want to go. Both are valid, but I have to say that after choosing one of them, it's not like regretting it because of the results. Results were really, really good. But then, you know, you just, if you sacrifice your time and put it into one thing, you know, that's just, we can't really fake time. So you're gonna lose something on the other side. Okay, so that's about this. So what I want to talk about today, very briefly, because it's getting really dark. Plus, you can see me. I have a hoodie on. I have a multiple layers on me because it's really, really cold here in Slovakia right now, and it's just, I can't do anything about that. It's just, I have a small electric heaters here, and this is an old historic building, and I have to have the original windows, which are really not as energy efficient as we are used to these days. So it's really, really cold. I'm freezing myself. You can see I'm wearing the shorts, that's true, but I have like a, I don't know how you call them, long johns, I guess, or the, you know, like the underlayer plus the socks. I had to put the shorts on because it was really uncomfortable with pants and undergarments. So this is my new this is how I look right now. But don't get distracted by this. And also, I still have a tea ready, and that's something that actually helps. A warm tea is super important. So anyway, I have this project that I'm working on that I'd like to talk about just a bit, and I can't really talk about what it is, where is it going to be located, and what, like, just because I don't want to break the rules of NDA, and also the competition, because it's supposed to be anonymous, right? And if I stream the process, if I stream what I do, everybody can see it, and I don't really care if everybody can see it. But there is a group of judges, right? So they're going to judge work of art, and then they're going to choose one, and it's going to be actually these are all just the small sketches that I'm working on, or small sketches. I mean, this is not a small sketch, but they ask for, I think, 150 centimeters tall drawing, then 70 centimeters tall sculpture of a same thing. Plus, I have to do a 3D visualization in as it's going to look in a 3D environment. So that's going to be another thing that has to be there. I cannot show you 3D visualization. I cannot show you sculpture, but I thought that maybe I can show you drawing. And what I'm going to do right now is that I'm actually, I want to walk you through a little bit of the drawing and what I'm doing and why am I doing it. This is actually interesting thing because I'm working on really weird material. I just got something like a, you know, like these, what is it, the styrofoam boards, like the really, really simple ones. I'm pretty sure you used them or saw them or, you know, worked with them before. I think that, yeah, this one is the one. Okay, cool. This is how it looks, the styrofoam board. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with this. Like, I use these as this is my shadow box that I use for still lifes. I mean, you saw this so many times. So that's something that I used. It's actually thinner, and I salvaged that from trash can. Actually, they wanted to throw it away, and when I say they, I don't. The company that was kind of like throwing it away. I was working on a project for them, and it was kind of a the sole purpose of this was just something that is light and flexible, so we could cover a part of a plate. But then, you know, after everything was done, they were just, we don't need it, we're going to throw it away. So I took it and I'm gonna try to draw on it right now and see what's up. You know how much I like to experiment with stuff. And yesterday evening, I actually started, important part is the end of the competition, or submitting all the work for this competition is by the end of January. So I don't have that much time to work on this. And I'm not really as that skillful with sculpting. So that's kind of that's going, that's a different story. And I'll talk about it later. After it's going to be all done, I'll definitely show it to you, and I'll keep you posted about how it's going on and how much I'm progressing with that. But the important part is that there's something similar. It's drawn right here because it's supposed to be one-to-one, and I want to try something new. And even if it's a competition, I don't really care, because I don't want to stop creating. I don't want to stop that creative process, which I like so much. So I just decided, you know what, this is not necessarily a material that I'm familiar with, but it might be fun. So this is what I'm working on right now. This is how it looks. It's just a really thin board, and you know, it really looks like a foam board. So that's that. Right, and there is a figure here, and it's a figure from a history again. It's actually a very famous figure. I can't tell you. I can't tell you the name, because again, I would probably breach and break the rules. But the important part is that it's a person with a religious bishop-like, or you know, like from a Christian church. Kind of a clothes or draperies, so it all fits into my previous work. So I did not really have to search that much for a specific materials. I did not have to really search for specific resource materials, because most of that I already have from the previous Cyril and method project that I was working on for so long. Oh, there you are, DM. Hi, long time no see. Hi. I was online. I've been here for what, 20 minutes, and I was just explaining the whole thing. Why was I not here? But just for you, very quickly. Recap, and this is going to be really quick version. Personal problems, school and education problems, and then the projects that are non-disclosure agreement, which I cannot talk about. So these three things, I will talk about them in detail, probably more and more as days progress. There are some personal things that I cannot talk about. There are some non-disclosure agreement things that I can't talk about, and there are some school things that I cannot talk about. But you know, I'll try to get you as much as I possibly can from behind the scenes. So I'm really happy to see you back. Welcome back. Welcome to Creative Discourse again with the new projects. I'm happy to see you back here. So. I'm just going to continue with this that I was talking about, and the fact is that yesterday it was, you know, this is really what, maybe 30 minutes of work. I just really sketched really quickly something on that white kind of a menacing board, and you all know that you're in front of a white board or white piece of paper or white canvas or actually, let's use blank, because that's probably better, not probably, that's a better expression. This is a blank canvas in front of you, blank piece of a material that you're going to, surface that you're going to work on. And yesterday I felt that I have the motions and the placement, and I just locked it there, and I leave it, and I said to myself, okay, this is a time, I promise to get back, I promise to get back to a creative discourse. So I set up the cameras and I went for it. So you are right at the right moment. This is going to be very short. I just want to describe what I'm going to work on upcoming weeks, because this has to be finished by the end of the January. It's a project for a competition that I can partially talk about, but you know, it's kind of a gray area. But there is a sculpture right there. I cannot talk about that one, but that's a similar model to that. Anyway, so I'm here. I just quickly sketch the figure, the position, the movement, and right now I'm looking only a whole day today. I was actually thinking about the composition, how to compose and how to fit it nicely into the frame, which is actually pre-assigned for me, for everyone. So that's what I'm working on. Also, I'm working with charcoal. I'm gonna go the same way, you know, like whether I'm working on the canvas or on the piece of paper or on this new addition, like, you know, like throwaway boards or whatever these are. So I'm gonna have fun with it a little bit. I also want to introduce a little bit of tempera. Because it dries very fast, and maybe some acrylics, because I kind of feel, oops, pardon me, I kind of hit the microphone, because it kind of gives me a quick flexibility, and since I have to work fast and be semi-accurate, I have some, you know, some tempera paintings, some Grisaille paintings, and this is going to be more about that. Kind of a sketch, but with a larger scale. It does not necessarily need to be perfectly rendered, everything. And I'm thinking again, I'm going to leave the background just kind of a fuzzy. I'm just going to tone it down later on and kind of start balancing it out. What I want to try, and I'm kind of excited about that, is to use, here are my tools that I would like to use. Let me just think of that. I would like to use just the black and white tempera. I don't have my second camera set up, but I'll go over them again. So I'm going to be using black and white tempera and the charcoal, and maybe a little bit of that kind of a warmer. These are not colored pencil. It's like a sepia or terracotta pencils. I mean, you can get them. It's a slightly like warmish tones into it, and I want to introduce a little bit of a kind of a little bit of a form, a little bit of not form. I'm sorry, a little bit more of that kind of a transition through the warm and cool that I like so much in a painting. So this is what I'm going to be working with these materials. I also am going to use a little bit of that, and I have a mess in the studio because I moved a lot of stuff from the school, from the studio in the school. So, and I'm going to be using something that it's called SOS. It's like a special drawing material, and I have some, you know, some sepia, which is kind of a, I don't have the second camera, but it's like a reddish brownish warm tone for that, to just warm it up. And I'm going to, you know, I'm going to make it, I don't want to use this as a color. I want to use this as a little bit of warmth that's going to go into places. You can think of that as, I think, good example of this? Well, of the Rubens use this, but from some of the modern guys, I guess Rob Liberace would be one of those who really beautifully work with the colored pencils. And these are not necessarily colored pencils. These are, he's using them as a two-tone, warm and cool, I'm sorry. I'm kind of, I can't really talk. It's probably because it's so cold. I feel like my fingers are really, and the hands are really stiff because of that coldness. So I have to start moving and working a little bit more. So I lay down on the canvas, on the board, and what I'm going to do and continue, not today, but later, I'm probably, well, maybe I could try some of that right now. Maybe I should. It might not be a bad idea. I'm not ready for that though. Well, you know what? Let me just do this. Let me leave it as it is because I'm going to do some irreversible damage to this, which is not that bad, but well, you know what? I like to do irreversible damages to things. I wanted to test, let me test that. I wanted to test that sauce and how much I can actually work with that sauce, which is another type of soft medium. It has like a specific way of working. Yeah, I think it's going to work. Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's working on that surface as well. So I'm just, like I said, because I'm not sure about this materials, or actually I'm sure about these materials that I'm holding. I'm not sure about the surface that it's underneath. So I'm trying to be very, I'm trying to be a little bit cautious because, well, the plan is that if nothing will work here, I can always put acrylic gesso on top of it, and then I can just paint over with oils. If everything fails, I can do like a quick paint, or I can actually use the tempera, water-based tempera, not egg tempera, to actually deal with some of the issues that I have or will have later on if I make mistakes. So it's a figure, and it's going to be a figure with a specific habit. In the competition, there are certain things that I have to follow. So I did not have a full freedom in a composition. They are asking for specific things. One of them is it has to have a staff in one hand and some other items in another hand. So it has to be that way. It has to be welcoming, and it has to have a charming, welcoming, warm facial expression. It was very, I mean, it was mentioned multiple times, so I think that they are looking specifically for that. That's what I'm working with, and everything else, it's up to me then. Yeah, let's see what's going to happen here. It's going to be only one figure, so it's going to be more like a portrait than anything else. But since it's a sculpture, it has to work three-dimensionally, right? So I'm actually working from every angle to make it look good. And I chose this one as the one that represents the. Oh, this works actually pretty well. So I'm using this particular this particular angle as my main. And maybe I will do a couple more if this is a big if I have more time, or if this will, you know, turn up to be good adjustments for the hands, and do for them to see that they are, you know, I can work with, I can change the positions based on based on their preference, right? So I don't like to leave the options for people, because 9 times out of 10 they will choose something that I don't like. But in this particular thing, it's a little bit different, because I have a plan to give them only the good ones, and I'm going to make them really good, all of them. So that's the plan for the for this project. Yep. So it's again, it has to be male, since it's a religious painting. You know, I'm not necessarily happiest about that, because after all these monks and travelers and religious figures, I have another religious figure as a commission, or actually it's a competition for a commission. That's probably the best way to describe it. So yeah, but I think this is going to work. I just have to, I'm thinking that, oh, this works pretty well, the sauce here, and it's not that difficult to erase. So yeah, nice. So I can work with that as well. So this is what I'm up to right now, and these days, and I'm gonna working on this one. It's gonna take us, like you said, it should be ready till the end of January. It's pretty. What would be the word that I'm looking for? It's not. Let me just hide a little bit. I need to sharpen my pencil. It's. I don't think I have that much time to make errors here. And unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know, I have to allocate most of my time that I allocated to this project, because I have a multiple project, to a sculpture, because that's a little more challenging. So yeah, and again, if you really want to enjoy this stream, ideally by joining me with the paper, pencil, paint, whatever creative medium that you prefer, that would be awesome. So I'm again trying to get a little bit more information into, maybe I should, since I have so many reference photos, maybe I should use some reference photos and sketches from that previous. I want to establish my portrait, because that's going to be extremely important, because they are looking for a specific expression. So I don't want to say that this is unusual for me to starting from a portrait, because it's kind of established the size of everything for me specifically. But I want to make sure that I have that portrait with the right emotion. Well, that's what I'm looking for, a right emotion. So let's see here how much I can. So I'm using very standard charcoal pencil, which is compressed charcoal, and it's a medium hardness or medium softness. I found that it actually really nicely work on this, and when I smudge it with the finger, it gives a kind of a weird, nice, kind of a soft transition. So I kind of like the surface. I'm not saying that it's the best surface that I've ever worked with, but I'm pleasantly surprised how good it is. So, yeah. Good experiment. Maybe I could move the mouth a little bit more. Yeah. Let's give a little bit more of a rotation. And I'm thinking that a figure should look towards us, or actually not a figure, that he should be looking towards us. So let's work on that a little bit. Some kind of establishing where the eye is going to be, because that's going to show me the reason why I'm looking at where the eyes are going to be, because that's going to show me because when you think about eye and the way how eyes moves in the eye socket, you can tell even when I have my eyes closed, you can tell that I'm moving with my eyes left and right, or top and bottom, because it's creating that kind of a little bulge there where your iris is. And as you move it around underneath your eyelid, you can see the form changing. And when the eye moves, a form of the eyelid slightly changes. And I broke my, so I have to. I forgot to ask you, DM, if you're still here, how are you doing? How is your Christmas? How's your work going? I haven't heard from you for a while, so what's up with you? I think since my pencil dropped yesterday, I think I shuddered it inside. That's extremely annoying. Okay, so I'll push this a little bit more here. plus he has to look like he's oh, you're great. You were in the hospital. I hope that everything is okay. Um, I'm sorry. I'm just. I hope that it was. I hope that it's a. Okay, DM. Like me, we have a different kind of a way of joking between each other. I hope it's a cosmetic surgery and you're getting your, I don't know, eyelids adjusted, and it's just it's nothing serious. How was my Christmas? My Christmas was actually pretty good. Like I said, I described that in that prologue that was kind of a long. That since I kind of lost touch with reality because of the work, I decided to spend some time with the family, which was really, really important for me. There's a lot of issues that, like, the family. I don't need to tell you about that. We could call it a cosmetic. Okay, all right, so let's call it a cosmetic. I'm glad to hear that you're okay, that it's nothing serious. That's the most important part. So hopefully you'll get back to home soon. I know that you mentioned maybe tomorrow, but I don't know what kind of how good hospitals are, or is it like a private hospital? Where are you at right now? Where you're located? So I don't disclose your location necessarily. So I will have a little bit of here, maybe more of the eye. Maybe it should be a little lighter here. So I'll have that kind of a light shape going on. It's a nice hospital. That's awesome. That's awesome that it's a nice hospital. Because that can really, really, really change the... I'm saying it because I had a couple of bad surgeries or unsuccessful surgeries. I shouldn't call them bad, but unsuccessful. So hopefully surgery was successful and you are good to go. So this is going to be eye right here. Maybe a little bit of here. Maybe I could actually show the bottom, I'm sorry, show the top lid a little bit, and maybe even the side of the head. You're recovering fast. Oh, that's amazing. I'm glad to hear that. So it means that you're gonna be home pretty soon. Nice. That's great. How do you do with painting? And actually, do you draw right now in the hospital, or are you just chilling and enjoying the full care of a. Okay, I'm sorry, I have a. Just a second, I'll have. Okay, I'm sorry, I had a phone call. Um, It's on a pause for now. I was struggling with health for last month, hence the surgery, but I'm looking forward to do it full force once I'm healed. Oh, I understand. That's just wow. But it's great that you finally are after the surgery, and I wish you the best. I know that I know how health is important when it comes to, like feeling comfortable and being involved in the process and not thinking about the pain or difficulties and future. So I'm glad that the surgery is over and then you feel better, and hopefully you get back home soon and you get back to painting and drawing and actually participating in the creative discourse, because that's another important role of yours. So um, get healthy soon. And actually, is there anything that I can do to help you with? And if you have any requests, maybe we could do a bed painting Friday special edition for you to refresh the memory of making a bad decisions. That would be that might be fun. So going back to this, I think what I'm thinking is to just move it a little bit to make it, I felt like his head might be a little too small. That was kind of a, yes, I'm glad your streaming helps time pass by. I miss Friday. Yeah, I know, me too. It was well, I don't even know how to, not how to, what to, not even what to, how to approach the fact that I was not able to stream. It's mostly personal stuff, probably most. It's not, it's not always, I don't need to tell you that it's not always sunshine and butterflies, right? So, and since I was so involved in that painting process to make sure that I have that diploma done, diploma painting done, I completely forgot what's happening around me, which cost me and people around me a lot of pain. So yeah, so I had to focus a little bit on that. And that's another thing that no one's gonna, no one will ever prepare you for mental problems. And I'm not saying that I will have some mental problems, but you know, sometimes you're sad about stuff that you missed. So yeah, it was kind of a difficult. Don't worry, I'm glad you are okay now, or enough to stream again. Yeah, it's mostly right now problem with stream. It's only scheduling and the fact that so many projects that I'm working on right now are really non-disclosure agreements. So that's kind of difficult when it comes to this, right? So. But you know, I'm not breaking. I think that no one's gonna care about this drawing to be shown online. So so let's see what's up. And if they disqualified me for sharing this with you, then so be it. Not really my problem, right? Maybe if I make this dark right here. Yeah, because it seems like his head is too small. Yeah. Maybe I should change maybe he should be maybe more this way. Yeah, I think I like that a little bit more this way. Yeah, but I think that I would have to go there with the. Gotcha, gotta love NDA. Yeah, NDAs are the best, quote unquote. But you know, they pay bills, so can't be that angry about that, right? So what I'm doing right now here is just, I'm trying to figure it out. Again, I'm trying to find my way around around the painting. Yeah, money is good. Yeah, you're right. Money is good. Well, actually, I could live without them if I would, if that would be possible, right? Just live off a pure trade. So I would trade goods for services and vice versa. But unfortunately, it doesn't work that way anymore. So I have to go with some of those NDAs, but it's okay. It's okay. I think I need to add ear right here, and then perhaps this should be bigger. This should be bigger because I still feel that his head is too. Is it too small? I don't think so. I only think that it's just a size issue. I think it's a width. Because if I add, well, his forehead, it's clearly here. And again, I'm not necessarily that focused on specific face. I'm looking for a specific emotion. Well, that's my main concern for this particular portrait. Maybe if I give him slightly bigger nose. Yeah, because as we get older, the cartilage in our nose and ears, it's still growing. So that's why older people, they have bigger noses, according to science. Well, so I would push it here and then definitely could be here. And darker here. And I'm thinking maybe this should be a little bit more here. Oh, hey Ace, you're back streaming regularly? I hope so. I hope so. Today was just a quick introduction, and I'm hoping to be able to going back to a regular stream. I have a couple projects that I have to work on behind the camera, but or behind the scenes, but I think I'll be able to stream regularly again. Well, it's really cold in the studio right now, so my hands freezing and my nose freezing might actually stop me, but I think I can manage that. I hope I can. Let's get a little bit of that ear right here, which shows me a position. Of the jaw. And then this needs to go lower. And I need a little bit more of an angle here. I'm trying to really establish position for the eye, and I really want the eye to be looking towards me. And I want it to be, and this is going to be a most difficult task, I want it to be really warm and welcoming. And when I say warm and welcoming, I mean so it doesn't feel, it's giving you, well, and this is again, that's what goes in my head. I have my own story in the head, how it's supposed to be and what it should be. So I'm thinking that it should give hope. That's kind of a idea behind that. So it cannot be, you've been sculpting? Yes, I'm working on the sculpture. That's one of those NDA projects that I cannot talk about because it's it's a competition, but it is it should be anonymous, and I'm afraid, not afraid, I can't really show you what it is right now, but I will show you after end of, well, actually I can't, I have to wait till the end of the competition, because there's going to be submissions are by the end of the January, and I think that the results are going to be known by the end of February. So in February we can just go for it, and I'll show you and I'll walk you through stuff that I did for that particular competition. Now, one thing that I can say, that's a competition for a city. Well, for a city. Actually, it's a sculpture for a city. So, but obviously this is not going to be the true size. This is actually 1:5, I believe, the size. So it's going to be life size, actually bigger than life. It's going to be fun. And then if I get that, or if I win, then we actually have a problem. Not necessarily a problem, but then there's going to be, I will have to probably relocate and find a different studio. This is actually a great question. Have you trained in sculpting much, or you find the drawing and painting skill transfers a lot? Actually, I think, and let me actually answer your question with yes and no would be the short answer. But to be honest. The important part, I think, that drawing, painting, and sculpting, and architecture, or any other medium have in common is composition. As long as you can deliver good composition, something that you like to look at and other people likes to look at, you're golden. Truth to be told, I think that sculpting and drawing and painting are somehow interlinked in terms of course, composition and design, but also the important part is that with drawing, we are creating of an illusion. We are creating an illusion of three-dimensional space on two-dimensional surface. With sculpting, we're actually physically creating that volume, and you being able to actually feel the form, it's extremely helpful. I use my skull here all the time. Well, I'm going to bring it. I'm sorry. It's just it's right here. So I have a skull right here, and sometimes if I don't know what's happening with the form, I have a dirty hands right now. I don't want to touch it, so I don't make it dirty. But I actually close my eyes and I'm trying to examine by the touch and feel the form, how it moves or how it bulges or how it, where the crevice is, how form rolls around, the size, the dimensions, and so on and so forth. I believe that sculpting, it's one part or 1/3 of that kind of a creative process of mine, because I'm thinking in terms of sculptures and volumes and spatial positions when I create a multi-figural compositions. The one thing that I have as an advantage with the painting is that I also work with color, and I also work with the fact that I can create my own environment around the figures. Sculpture does not have this, so that's probably for me the biggest challenge, that this particular sculpture is supposed to be in the specific place, and it has to fit to a specific place, plus it has to actually fit to a already existing kind of a sculptures that are there. So this is kind of a very classical kind of a, think of that as a I don't know, as a Medici family. It's actually ordering or assigning a commission to a best sculptor that applies for this, and there are certain things that you have to fulfilled, or actually there are certain what would be the word? There are conditions that you have to meet, right? So for me, specifically for this one, it is a specific person. It has a specific history behind it. It's a priest. He has a staff, and he has other elements in the hands. I can't really say more, so we don't get into it. I mean, you can definitely Google it, but since I want to keep this as a semi-secret part, I don't want to really talk about that. And semi-secret not because of you, but semi-secret because those are the conditions of that competition that I cannot talk about it, or should be anonymous, right? But going back to sculpting, is for me, sculpting is, I don't want to say it's, I feel very natural. I have a very good feeling when I'm sculpting around, when I'm creating forms in that space, and that helped me better understand these illusions of a form, right? So when I'm thinking about the face, I'm not thinking about the separate shapes necessarily. Of course I do, but first I'm thinking about the overall volume of that. And there is something that you're gonna laugh at me. Not necessarily laugh, but you guys know me. I always have a Rembrandt on demand. But these days I'm adding a Michelangelo as well. So when you look at some of Michelangelo's work, unfinished work, it's beautiful to see a thinking process of his, right? And when I'm talking about what I mean by that is some of his unfinished sculptures are still partially in a block of marble. So it's like a raw marble that was cut in a quarry and delivered to him. And he started chiseling things and feeling his way around. Of course, I'm pretty sure that he had some sketches, because this is going to be like imagine this as I think that they used to use terracotta clay for sketching, for quick sketching. And then there was something like a quick drawing sketch. And then the final sculpture is then transferred to, for me, it would be final painting. But for them, the sculpture is the final project. Important thing is that when I was trained both in drawing, in painting, and in sculpture. So you can think of this as we had a very simple. The assignment was simple. Just draw ear of a David, paint ear of a David, and then sculpt ear of a David, right? And we had monochromatic painting and then full color painting. And you might think about, oh, it's just the white ear. Well, there is so many different colors there and so many other things that are happening, these nuances with the pigment and paint. So I was trained, I think it was 2 years. I had 2 years of sculpting. So we had that side size kind of a sculpting, which is that you have a exact model and you take calipers and measurements. These are the calipers. Where do I have them? Where are my calipers? Where did I put them? Ah, there they are. So you have something that's called calipers for taking precise measurements. So you had, let's say, the skull, and then you just measure the distances from eye to eye, from eye to eye, from the nose, from the mouth, and you step by step lay down these measurements. You also learn something which was very helpful for me. It was a spatial measurement. So you were measuring not only two-dimensionally on X and Y axis, but you also including a Z axis, so you can actually triangulate the position. It works a little bit like a GPS, right? So it's pretty cool. I really, really enjoy sculpting. Good luck in the comp. Yeah, I've been discharged. I'm going home, see you in a bit. All right, DM. Glad to hear that you're going back. You got me a look into Rembrandt a lot, and it leads to Odd Noorderm. Do you have any opinions on his work? He prizes Rembrandt a lot. Actually, Odd Noorderm, it's if you watch streams and if you check the library of the videos that I have on YouTube from these live streams, I talk about Odd Noorderm a lot. I'm also familiar with Odd Noorderm. I actually consider him as one of the best still living painters or contemporary painters. I might disagree with some of his personal opinion, but when it comes to painting, he knows what he's talking about. I actually, before the academy in St. Petersburg, I was thinking to join his school. I think it's called School of a Palace or something like that. He has his studio or his farm or his, I don't know, atelier I think he's from Norway, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm actually familiar with his work. I really like his work, some of his work. He has his particular way of painting, and actually it's very similar to how I approach painting. That's how I found him out. And when you Google stuff about Rembrandt online, most likely Odd Noorderm is going to show up. Another very important painter for me is from contemporaries. He died not recently, but not long ago, I think in 2008, was Andrew Wyeth. That's the second very important one for me. And then also Vincent Desiderio. Those are like three that I can get from the top of my head. And then also some of my Russian colleagues, which would be Nikolai Blokhin, Ilya Zorkin, Ivan Loginov, and Alexei Perepelkin. So these are like really heavy hitters when it comes to painting. The only thing that I'm kind of not necessarily disagree, that's not the right word. I think that their limited palette, it's a great tool, but I don't think I can agree with everything that they are. I'm talking they because I think that right now it's not only him, but there is a couple other. I think his son, it's also a painter. So, and they have the podcast and school and so on and so forth. So they have a strict rules about what kind of pigments you're using, and I don't really like that kind of absolute restrictions. It's really great to start with these ideas, and then if you feel that you want to explore and go further, you should not be afraid to use blue pigment, unless, even though they don't use it, but I do. I use ultramarine blue a lot, and I'm not really that kind of a purist that I would use only limited palette. I don't think that Rembrandt used a limited palette necessarily. I'm pretty sure that Rembrandt used everything that he could actually purchase and buy at that time. So I'm trying to do the same thing. As long as it works for me, it's okay to use. But that's just my opinion. That being said, those are, Odd Nerdrum is really, really good. I'm not even close to his level. So, but again, he has a couple thousand more hours painted compared to me. So. Maybe I should make this smaller. There's a couple. I think that also another one that recently died was Richard Schmidt. That was very, very. He was impressionist, but he's a really, really good painter. He had that very impressionistic kind of a John Singer Sargent style of painting. Very pretty, very beautiful, very. It's a spectacular. Those are spectacular paintings of his. But he's more on kind of a landscape oriented. He's looking way too much this way. I'm trying to establish the position of his head, and also, more importantly, I know that I'm repeating myself, but I guess that you guys are used to this. The overall expression, and this is when, when painters like you mentioned, Odd Nerdrum really shines. Rembrandt, of course. Vincent Desiderio as well. Nikolai Blokhin, another one, because their paintings and expressions in their paintings, figures, is just sublime. I would say. I wouldn't even hesitate to go with sublime. Okay, this needs to go here. This probably needs to be shorter. Yeah, I love the Richard Schmidt Alla Prima books. Yeah, they're very instructive. Very, he talks about edges, and I think that that's something that a lot of modern educators or teachers, if you wish, or lecturers. I don't know how to call them. Let's call them teachers for the sake of this argument. They're not really paying attention that much to the edges, and I think that that's where the painting happens, in edges and understanding of what is soft edge, what is hard edge, how to create the hard edge and soft edge, because that's another big challenge that it's technical issue that we have. And when I say we, myself as well, of course, but I'm talking about like a pure beginners, like absolute beginners. They don't really pay attention to stuff like edges, unfortunately. And not because they don't want to, it's more like you are not aware of them. And I think that really everything that Richard Schmid is talking about in his book, he can also paint. And then if you want another level, then you go to Rembrandt. Do you have advice on oil painting surfaces and scaling up as you're learning with some budget restrictions? I mentioned this at the beginning, that this whiteboard, as you see, right, that's not paper, it's not canvas. It's just something that I found outside next to a trash can. Actually, not found next to the trash cans, but this was a throwaway stuff. It was from a project that I was working on, and it was like a one-time installation. It's actually funny because they needed some kind of a, I'll just show it to you. They needed a green background, so it was like boards like this. And it's like a very thin, I think it's a foam board. And I salvaged it and I'm drawing on it right now. So that cost me actually $0. So that would be my experimental drawing surface. It's not ideal. I wouldn't recommend this to work on or at on this surface. That's the proper, yeah, on this surface, unless you are comfortable with your materials. But the cheapest way to paint, it's probably, I like to, and this goes against everything that I talk about when it comes to preserving your work. So I have kind of a, this is a paper that was stretched on what is this? Like you can stretch paper on stretcher bars. I also have an MDF board underneath for a better support. And this is, you see, like this is just a really badly stretched, but it doesn't matter. It's for sketches. So I would stretch a paper like this, and I would cover it with 2 or 3 layers of acrylic gesso. And that will be my very cheap painting surface. I don't think that, well, I wouldn't suggest you to actually paint your final work on this, but when it comes to sketches and when it comes to being really quick and not feeling, this is, I'm trying to find the right words. That's the cheapest way. That means that if you use cheap materials, you are less likely to be kind of like, oh, I'm afraid because if I break this, or if I destroy this, you know, expensive canvas for, I don't know, $200-300, or I don't know, like I have some wooden boards that they were prepared, and so on and so forth. So this is like a very cheap alternative. I think this is painted on, yeah. So I have this painting that I'm working on right now, and this one is on paper. It's on paper. It's same thing. It was actually, what's gonna be, it's also another religious, I have so many religious paintings right now because of the, I just trying to find the way it's not there's no glare there. So this is also painted on the paper, right? And since I'm not really necessarily that afraid of a paper, I'm experimenting with the different texture applications and, you know, different color combinations. There's a bunch of greens there and yellows, and there are also purples. I don't know if this is gonna be seen. Oh no, my camera cannot zoom on that. But there is a lot of different, I'm sorry, I don't have my secondary camera actually attached. But here I'm focusing strictly on the paint application and options, and I'm not worried about this because, you know, this kind of a paper that was sealed with acrylic gesso, if you're really, really on the budget, this and this was on the budget. This is not even acrylic gesso. I think I used PVA glue. It's a polyvinyl acetone. Polyvinyl. Well, if you go to, you know, PVA glue, it's just a it's kind of like acrylic gesso, but when it dries transparent. That's a super cheap way to work. It's not necessarily something that I would recommend you to do if you are working on the commission, because paper, it's not really a stable surface. So not being too fussy with the surface when learning, just try to use anything I can. And a lot of gesso. Well, here is a rule when it comes to materials. When you work with, let's say, with a canvas, right? Depends on the thickness of a canvas. There is it's not a rule. It's like a suggestion that I always think about. Is that your gesso with your, well, because you have a raw canvas, and raw canvas is covered by something that's called what's it called? I can't really. It's made out of it's a rabbit skin glue. So first you actually seal the surface with the rabbit skin glue, so you're going to have two surfaces, or two layers, two layers. And then you're going to put 2 or 3 layers of gesso. But the rule of thumb is, that's what I was looking for, the rule of thumb is that your canvas, or actually your sealer and your gesso layers all together should not be thicker than actual canvas or surface that you are painting on, right? So, and it goes specifically for a canvas. So that would be the only thing. I wouldn't put just an enormous amount of gesso on top of whatever surface. But on the paper, first I would recommend you to stretch it so it doesn't buckle. It's not wavy. And when I'm stretching it, I have a wet paper. You can submerge it if it's a little bit more expensive, and thicker paper, you can submerge it into water or give it a little quick bath. So just the paper kind of loosens up, and then you stretch it, and as it dries, it kind of shrinks. But you have to be careful, because if you have a really, really expensive, good quality paper, it's going to break your stretcher. It's going to really deform things. I saw just, from my own experience, I stretched the paper on the stretcher bars, and as it tightens, it created kind of that bow effect, like invert like everything was kind of arching inside because the paper was so strong and the tension, and it kind of warped the wood. So you have to be careful with these things. But you're gonna find the way and the size and not the size of a paper, the amount of the amount of power that you need to actually fold it over and stretch it. And then it works nicely like a beautiful drum, and you're gonna feel it, you're gonna hear it. It works as a drum. And I know that when I have this sound, I know that my canvas is in a perfect condition. Other thing that you might want to avoid is to badly prepared canvas, and this is some of that. You can see there is a little white gesso around this area. I don't know if my camera properly. Well, you can see it right now, which actually seeped through. That means that it wasn't sealed properly, right? So that's something to avoid when you're making your own canvases. Making your own canvases, it's always going to be cheaper than a store bought, and also you have the control over material and surfaces. So if you want a, I don't know, smoother canvas, you can make it smoother. If you want rougher, you can make it rougher. And depends on what kind of layers you're using. You might use acrylic gesso, you might use oil gesso. I mean, I'm using gesso very freely right now. Gesso is a specific recipe that we know. It's more about you have a layer of sealers and then a layer of I'm losing words. I don't know. I got distracted. I'm sorry. I was just gonna get back. Good information. Thanks for advice. Oh, so I'm talking too much again. So I'm gonna stop right here right now because again I have to switch to another project that I have to continue working on. But I'm gonna be here tomorrow, hopefully with that regular time. I start with the 12 noon Central European time. I think it's CSET, I guess. It's a Central European time. Yeah, sorry for, again, being here so short today. It was just, I want to do a quick a recap of what happened last couple months and what's gonna happen in future, or what I have in mind for a future. I'm gonna be working on this project by the end of the January. So this is what's ahead of us. Some of these streams are going to be a little bit more having fun, because that's what I miss a lot, getting back and having fun with painting. So I'm looking forward to a Bad Painting Friday, unless something shows up. Most likely because it's really, really cold in my studio, so I won't be able to be here because I'm literally freezing. And it's an old historic building. What are you gonna do? And yeah, so it's sculpting. I can't show you the sculpture, but by the end of February, I'll be able to, because then the NDA is going to be lifted. And yeah, and I have a bunch of new projects that I want to work on. Some large-scale paintings that I have to finish this year. And I would like to do my own exhibition, hopefully this year. I don't know. I've never had, that's not the right way to say it. Yeah, I haven't, well, let's put it this way. I haven't had a need to do my own exhibition, but somehow I would like to put things together, put them on display, and see if I can create actually coherent body of work that can be actually exhibited as a solo exhibition. So that's one of the things that I would like to do with a couple of bigger paintings, with a couple smaller ones, some student works, some bed sketches, because I would like to bring also students to see that it's not only about what you see as the end result, but how much progress is there. So yeah, and I would also like to make it a virtual exhibition. So that's kind of like in my mind. That will be fun. So also for you guys that cannot actually be in the location, you'd still have at least kind of a feel of what was in my mind. So yeah, that's that. Hope to see you soon, and don't forget to continue drawing and painting and sculpting and creating. I hope that you were creating, sculpting and painting and writing and 3D modeling, animating while I was gone for a couple months. And I'm looking forward to our creative discourse. I'm looking forward to working alongside you guys, and stay cool. And I'll see you. Take care. Bye.